truth, logic, common sense, that gut feeling, and yes, even a little psychoanalysis, as we are once again together, you and I, to discuss Chad Daybell and of his alibi, right? Isn't that what we have started to discuss here? How many y'all? How many revelations came to pass for Chad and Lori? They were always seeking one another's confirmation, don't you recall? Why would Chad need Lori to confirm Viola? You know, we got that in Lori's trial, the text messages. And what about Lori asking Chad about, find out if they're down to 0 and all of that? Why would she need Chad to confirm that to her? Why couldn't they get their own shit down, right? Why couldn't they just tell the other person, hey, I've had this revelation. This is how it is. It was a back and forth, y'all. When Chad was telling Lori about Tammy, how was he going to prove what he was telling Lori? Huh? How was he going to do that? Wasn't confirmation, whether he had gotten it himself or was asking Lori for it, find out about Viola. Isn't that supposed to be like the evidence? The evidence of their seeing beyond the veil shit? How would they prove their faith in all of this crap that they were spewing and making up as they went along? How were they going to show that this faith was so real to each other? Let me just throw a little caveat in there. What about all these cult members? They were just constantly reaffirming Chad and Lori. You don't have leaders without the followers, right? You think about Audrey Baratario sending a little emoji of crossed out eyes, which can be discerned as, an emoji about death. I mean, folks, these people, all of them, were tickling each other's fancy in evil and diabolical ways. How many times did the revelations not happen? Y'all remember that? There was no car wreck for Tammy. There was no car wreck for Charles and JJ. It never happened. Remember Lori and was texting Zulema, let's go to them tonight. Let's hover over the freaking vehicle. Give me a break. The castings didn't work, y'all. They didn't work because ultimately every time they would say, yeah, they worked. They casted out Ned Schneider, but oh no, here comes Garrett. And oh, we got him out too. Now it's Hiplos. Folks, the castings were not working or they would have continued doing it. And ultimately, we know the castings was a crock of shit, but in their own freaked out delusional minds and their evilness, they didn't continue with the castings. And it was always about stronger entities appearing when they did all that casting stuff. And as y'all recall, I take it with a grain of salt, but Melanie Gibbs says in her police interview, she said her last one, she says, it just snowballed out of control. Well, I'll tell you right now, as I look at you, Melanie Gibb and all the rest of them helped snowball all of that. What about Chad's second segment of his life? How long he'd been damn talking about that shit? And did Lori have to believe that her children were zombies because Chad said so? Folks, those are many questions that swirl around in my mind from time to time. But with that being said, we are now going to start in between coffee time. We're going to talk about Chad and his alibi. I put on the community post, I said, here are the dates. Tell me what you got for content. And some of y'all said, I don't know. Others kind of gave little spurts here and there of what they thought, and I appreciate the feedback. But let's just start today in all of this by saying that those crucial dates, absolutely, if you take it into totality of Lori's trial, along with the publicly known evidence that we already have and know about, let's just try to see where Chad Daybell was during all of this. And by the way, one of you, and you know who you are, said, inquiring minds want to know about July 11th of 2019. I might have to scratch my head on that and see where I can come up with something anyway, right? But September 8th, y'all, is a very crucial date, 2019. It was a Sunday. Okay, think about this. Let's do some common sense thinking here. It's a Sunday, y'all, and Chad and Tammy are together that day. We know this because the overt acts listed in the charging documents shows that Tammy absolutely signed an increase on her insurance. Some say, well, maybe Chad forged it. Well, you can be damn sure that the state and law enforcement there, they would have compared those signatures, and they came out in those charging documents saying, yes, Tammy had signed that increase. So we know September 8th, Chad and Tammy were together. They signed that on that same day. Chad is looking up south-southwest wind. We all know what that was for. And also, obviously, during the time he's home with Tammy, you got Lori, Alex, and the kids at Yellowstone Park. I want to bring this in because I haven't talked much about it, but it has been bared out in Lori's trial and other publicly known information through Freedom of Information Acts on these Venmo transfers to Kobe. I am saying that following the money and all of this and that, Kobe Ryan on that September 8th date, he texts Tylee's cell phone, okay, and asks for a Venmo transfer. Kobe texts Tylee for it. Tylee or Lori responds to that text that it's almost like Tylee's doing it, but it could have been Tylee or Lori saying she doesn't have control of the money anymore. The last time we met, I said maybe it was the 5th or 6th of September that Tylee told Kobe that, you know, I don't have control of the money anymore, okay? And I was wrong, but now I've updated it as I look at you. It was actually September 8th, okay, that Tylee or Lori responded to Kobe wanting that Venmo transfer. Nevertheless, even though that text does say, I don't have control of the money anymore, and it looks as if Tylee's sending that to Kobe, on that day, a transfer was made to Kobe from Lori's Venmo account, okay? So, if Lori actually was the one holding on to Tylee's phone, let me just go down this line of thinking, okay? Remember, we all talked about it. How was Lori ever going to get away with taking the children out of all these relationships in their life? Kobe was a sibling to Tylee and JJ. Another connector was what? Kobe would connect with Tylee to receive Venmo payments. Lori had to cut that off at the knees. She could easily say to herself, well, Kobe's going to want to continue a relationship with Tylee, but if I've moved away and I'm in hiding, there's really nothing he can do. But she knew that string was still attached of Kobe going to Tylee to get the money, right? So maybe she did text Kobe and say, pretending to be Tylee and saying, I don't have control of that anymore, Kobe. And then Lori backs that up with a transfer from Lori's account. We all know she transferred the Chase Morgan account stuff over to her from Tylee in August. So what I am trying to say is, In Kobe's mind, for the most part, he always depended on Tylee to send that Venmo. Here on the 8th of September, which is a crucial day, it's confirmed him. He's looking at the text message and he's saying, oh, Tylee's telling me that she doesn't have control of it anymore. Mom's going to have to send the money. And lo and behold, that happens. Why do I think that it was Tylee that actually sent that? Because, y'all, 2 days after Lori transfers that money to Kobe from her account instead of Tylee's, 2 days later, it comes again from Tylee's account, okay? So what I am trying to say is Lori's pretending to be Tylee during this time on the 10th, and I believe, y'all, that on the 8th, Tylee actually sent that. In other words, Tylee was still in control, if not for anything else, briefly, of her own cell phone to send that. And Lori had to have known, oh, Tylee sent this message letting Kobe know that I've got the money now. So what am I going to do? First, she sends on the 8th from her account, but then she turns right back around and sends it from Tylee's account on 2 days later. What I am saying is why not just stick with it coming from Lori's account now that Lori knows that Kobe knows that it's all in control of Lori now? Why is she going back to this, going from Tylee's account? It's strange to me through all of this is that when Kobe texted Tylee on the 8th of September, why not call her? And later on in that month, he tells Dr. Phil that later on in that month, he started to get a little suspicious that it didn't sound like Tylee on the text messages. Well, if that's the case, why, if you're so suspicious, why not call her? Why does it got to be through text message, right? So, September 8th, you've got a transfer from Lori's account. September 10th, you've got one from Tylee's account, right? In the whole month of September, there was a transfer to Kobe on the 8th and the 10th, and again on the 22nd and 23rd. And I think y'all understand what those dates line up to. Don't you find it interesting that only 4 transfers in September to Kobe? 2 of them are around Tylee's death and 2 of them are around JJ's death. We will discuss more in detail about this following the money, Venmo transfers when we get together again with Coffee with KJ. So let's get back to it. September 8th, Chad and Tammy are together. Lori, Alex, and the kids are at Yellowstone. And one would have to believe that sometime in the evening, whatever theory or hypothesis that you have, that Chad would have had to come over that evening, Sunday evening, when they got back from Yellowstone, or overnight. Which I don't believe happened, y'all. Chad could not have been there the night of, because how would he have explained that to Tammy? As we go through this, just remember that we are trying to figure out Chad's involvement, but all of it is intertwined together, Alex, Lori, and Chad, because of the conspiratorial nature of it all. So September 8th overnight, Alex shows up at Lori's at 11:44 p.m. till 12:15 that night. It's about 30 minutes. That's late in the evening. Then from at 12:44, which is another 30 minutes, he's back at his apartment and he stays there the rest of the evening. Monday morning, okay? Monday morning, Tammy would be leaving early for work. She worked for the school system. I'm not exactly sure what time her job started, but you would imagine that if she's got to be at school when the students arrive, you're looking at least, she'd have to leave the house 6:30, 7:30 in the morning. She's leaving early to go to work. That's a Monday morning. By the time she is at work, there's no way she's still at home at 8:59 a.m. when Alex is still at his apartment. This is through GPS, right? At 8:59, he's at his apartment, and 22 minutes later, he is on Chad's property. And he's on the back end of the property at the east end of where the barn is. From 9:21 to 11:39 a.m., Alex is at Chad's house in the backyard for 2 hours and 18 minutes. Chad Daybell cannot say that he did not know Alex was not in the backyard. That's a whole 2+ hours. Chad would have absolutely had to know that Alex was there. He comes through the back gate in his vehicle. He's on the east side of the barn. Chad Daybell knows Alex is there. If someone wants to say Chad was at home and maybe he slept in late and didn't know Alex was back there, well, that doesn't account for the 14 minutes after Alex leaves. Chad is actually in the backyard with the GPS data point showing he is standing where Alex had been standing. His signal is located where Alex's signal was in the backyard. So one would have to believe that Chad did not know Alex was there for over 2 hours. You got to keep in mind, y'all, the burning. Alex had to do all this by himself, according to Chad. Chad didn't know he was back there. Chad didn't know he was burning anything. And he just so happens to go out there after Alex leaves, 14 minutes after Alex has left the property, and he's standing where Alex stood by that fire pit. So when he is back there, 3 minutes after that, right? 3 minutes after he's standing back there in that GPS point that lines up with Alex, he's texting Tammy, the infamous raccoon text. He does that. He absolutely is. You gotta think about it. He isn't back in the house. He's still, it doesn't take him, it takes him more than, I would say, 3 minutes to leave that backyard, go in the house. And they don't say anything that Chad sends Tammy the text message why he's in the house, because they also have GPS evidence showing that Alex visited at other times but didn't go in the backyard. Then you've got Chad sending after the raccoon text. After that, just minutes after that, he is texting Tammy saying, I'm going to BYU to write. I'm going to take a shower and I'm going to go to BYU and write. From that text where he's letting Tammy know that he's leaving, he's going to take a shower, he texts Tammy that he's back in 2 hours and 52 minutes, okay? So from the time he says, I'm going to BYU, we got to take a shower, he texts Tammy again almost 3 hours later. Okay, let's stop there. We don't know how long it would have took him to take a shower, get in his vehicle, and go to BYU. But the question really is, will the state have evidence that Chad was never at BYU? It is my contention that he never went to BYU. There was just too much cleaning up, if you know what I mean, for him to have left like that. What, leave the fire burning? All that can be done in just 2 hours? I don't think so. So I believe the state will have evidence that Chad was there tending to all of that. He told Tammy that. He said he was going to BYU. I don't believe he was even there. Would he have someone come in and say, yeah, I was at BYU that day and I saw Chad Daybell at BYU? Or is there going to be cameras, which I'm sure are all over BYU, parking lots inside of libraries and everything else, showing Chad Daybell was there or not there? And I guess another question that has to be asked is, if you look at Garth and his work schedule, was Garth at home? From my understanding, he was at work that night when Tammy was murdered. So did he work a night shift and maybe he was home that morning and day sleeping? Who knows what children were home at the time? Conclusion about what we've all talked about, our theories and hypothesis of September 8th with Tylee Ryan. Some of you said that she was brought out to Chad's on the 8th after Yellowstone and shot and killed there. No, it didn't happen on the 8th because what? Tammy was there. Tammy was at home Sunday the 8th. So we go a day later to September 9th. What time did the neighbors hear a shot on the 9th? I haven't gotten a clear answer to that. Please put it in the comments if you know around the time that shot was heard. And if there was a shot and Tylee was shot at Chad Daybell's, I mean, who was at home? Was the children home? Could they hear the shot? Did the neighbors, other than the one that said he heard it, did Chad Daybell, was it his gun, or was it one of the many, many guns of Alex Cox? And then we've got to look at this common sense wise, y'all. If Tylee was destroyed the way she was, what about the blood evidence that we did not hear about in Lori's trial? There was a little speck on a pickaxe. And you know what I'm saying? There was no blood anywhere. How do you do that? How do you dismember a body and not have any blood evidence other than what's on the pickaxe? If Tylee was shot on the 9th, would Chad have done that, or would have Alex done that? Who was more apt to have done that? We know that Lori said at the beginning of September, Alex said, I need to go to the gun range. She said, yes, you need the practice. Was she doing that because they had already a plan in place to try to take Tammy out October 9th? Or was Lori saying you need the practice because you're fixing to have to shoot Tylee? How can a big girl like Tylee get destroyed like that, y'all? Cut up, put in a fire pit. Also, the pet cemetery dug up. I'm sorry, this is just so disturbing to me. How can they dismember and burn her and dig the grave all in just 2 hours, a little over 2 hours that Alex was there? What I am saying is that yes, Alex obviously was there and helped. It's my theory that Alex actually murdered Tylee and Chad helped cover it up. But it couldn't have been that Alex was on the property and Chad didn't know anything about it and Alex did all of this by himself. There's just no way that could have happened. And even if, with the time that Alex was there, say Alex did it all, how Chad wouldn't have known nothing about it. How could they have dug in the pet cemetery that deep and at the same time dismember and burn? It would take all day, y'all. Chad did not have the hole dug on Sunday as he had it pre-dug for JJ on the 22nd and 23rd because Alex was out there only 17 minutes. So we know for a fact that grave of Tylee's was not dug that Sunday because, again, what? Tammy was there. There's no way. He only brings up about the raccoon to account for the disturbance of what happened in the pet cemetery. So the bottom line is this. Chad Daybell absolutely helped Alex. And after Alex left in 2.5 hours there and went to Del Taco, what a sick, twisted son of a bitch he is, Chad did not go to BYU and Wright, and he was there all day taking care of it all. Absolutely taking care of it all. Does anyone want to believe the only thing that Chad did in the whole murder was look up south-southwest wind the day before and that was all he was going to do? I don't think so. Chad Daybell would have to have had to have digged that on Monday. That is what Chad Daybell did. I don't think that Alex sat there and dug that, did what he did to Tylee, and done all of that into just a little over 2 hours. Let's just recall, in this situation where they dug Tylee up, there were bricks. They were located a foot, y'all. That's this much below. It wasn't the size of a full body there. Remember how she was in a green bucket, but still, they had to go in there. Well, I believe the bricks were probably already there, and they dug those bricks up and put her underneath the bricks. Because why? Because when the forensic unit was digging her up, they found the pets first. They dug down, picked all that up out of there, put her under the pets, then the bricks, and then the foot of dirt on top of that. And let's just remember that on the 6th, that's 2 days before I believe Tylee was murdered, September 6th, it has been established that Alex was out at Chad's from 12:41 in the day to 12:53 in the day, not in the backyard, but in the house with Chad. And it's my contention that he went over there to discuss things with Chad. And I believe it was Chad's decision to put the children in the backyard. If anyone wants to believe that Alex came over there to Chad and said, hey, Chad, the kids, they're zombies, Lolo, Elena, we've decided we've got to take them out. I'm over here at your house to let you know that we want to put them in the backyard. No, it ain't going to be like that. Chad Daybell is the one that made sure when he did what? Alteration, destruction, and concealment of evidence. So, to put this all together in summary, on September 8th, Chad was at home with Tammy. Overnight, Chad could not have been there overnight. The next day, Chad was home all day long, y'all. This is my view. And he helped Alex 100%, helped him do everything, every bit of it. So, Alex, in my opinion, was the one that actually murdered Tylee. Did he murder her overnight and load her up and take her out to Chad's? Went to the east side where the barn was, brought her body into the barn, started to dismember her. I guarantee you, the moment that Alex got on that property, Chad was walking out in the backyard, y'all. They already showed in Lori's trial that of the morning that Alex left to take Tylee out there, that they were already in contact. Chad and Alex and Lori, all three of them, as usual, conspiring together. So, when it comes to Tylee Ryan, to me, the bottom line is that I believe Alex murdered Tylee. I believe Chad helped cover it up. But I also believe it was a combination of Lori and Chad together that got Alex to do that, get him, starting the murder spree there. And, Alex, he did his part, and Chad did his part to help cover it up. Some believe Chad was the one that actually murdered Tylee. Some people believe that Chad shot Tylee on the property. But it's my opinion that the reason that he told Tammy that he shot the raccoon, number one, was for the ground disturbance and also the sound of it. If somebody else heard it, if his son Garth was in the house asleep, he could easily say, oh, I shot that shot because there was a raccoon. That's what I believe. It had happened months before. A neighbor said that Chad had shot a raccoon months before. It was something they all knew about, so it wouldn't have been a big deal. So leave your comments. That is my opinions on Tylee. Let me be clear, the Venmo account, the payments that were made in that, I have some things I want to discuss with y'all during coffee. We'll get back together next time. We'll be on Thursday on a pre-record where we will be going over J.J. Vallow, okay? So leave your comments. Let me know what I've missed. This is just setting us up, getting us ready for that damn asshole's trial. So with that said, love you all and keep on looking.